Hello, my name is Shivani Chaudhry and I'm the director of the Housing and Land Rights Network based in Delhi. And we're really happy to be here at the India Land and Development Conference as a co-organizer, and we've been part of this journey from the beginning. So it's great to see so many people here to discuss these extremely important issues that unfortunately do not get the adequate attention in policy and laws in India. So while there's a lot of talk about land in terms of industry, in terms of companies, in terms of land pooling, land banks, there's very little discussion on the critical importance of land as a human right and land rights for the most marginalized in the country. So about 70% of India is rural and people are directly dependent on land for their survival. But we're seeing a lot of discrimination in terms of the denial of land rights for Dalits, for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, people living in forests, those who really depend on land for their survival. And for them, land is not just a commodity, and we're seeing that more and more it's being financialized. But for them, land is life, land is their culture, land is their spirituality, and land is really the crux of their survival. And that's why it's really important that we look at land as a human rights issue, and this must be reflected in the policy response as well. Land is very linked to housing, and in India we have a lot of talk about housing for all, but again we're not seeing the integration of a human rights approach. So unfortunately people are talking about construction of houses which are inadequate, which are outside cities, but we have a population of almost 4 million homeless people just in urban areas, whereas in rural areas we have about 500 million people who are landless. So we need to have integrated policies connecting urban and rural issues, but also recognizing that everybody who is landless must have a right to homestead, which includes land for housing, but also for subsistence livelihood, including small-scale agriculture. We need to have laws to prevent this usurpation and land grabbing that's taking place, especially from small-scale farmers, from peasants who work on other people's lands. There's no provision for distribution of land to them. Land reform has really failed, so we need a rights-based agrarian reform agenda and a strong urban land agenda as well. Urban land reform needs to be on the forefront of all policies related to urbanization, because even in urban areas, the urban poor occupy a very small percentage of the land. They have no access to adequate housing and services, and they're constantly living in insecurity and the fear of being displaced. So we're witnessing very rapid and large-scale displacement across India. Since independence, about 70 million people have been displaced for so-called development or infrastructure projects, but these people are the ones who do not benefit from the so-called development. So we're here at the India Land and Development Conference, but you cannot have development unless everybody has recognition of their land rights and secure land on which they can live adequately and with dignity.